For those of you that are familiar with the toolkit and the way the self-evaluation works, you'll know what I mean when I talk about emerging, developing, and embedding. For those that may not have used the toolkit, each question, for example, how effectively do you use any dedicated resource and funding on service children? You have to make a judgment as to whether the school is at an emerging level, which is at a fairly low level that definitely needs improvement, or at a developing level. And I would say that developing is a pretty good place to be, particularly if you've got a minority number of service children. Perhaps not quite where you'd want it to be if you were in a school with a very, very large number of service children. You should be aspiring to that sort of outstanding area or embedding practice. The problem, of course, is that, how does a school know whether or not it's still at the emerging level or is now at the developing level? So when the case studies were written, the team that worked on them, the first thing that we did was we tried to exemplify what emerging looked like, what developing practice looked like, and what embedding practice looked like in every single one of the 40 questions. And we then shared the outcomes with sort of sector specialists. So, for example, Principle 5 around children are heard, we took to a university research team that had done a lot of work on children's voice, and we said, do you think this looks right? And we made some amendments. And following quite a heavy quality assurance process, they were then published and they're now available. And I believe Vicky's going to show you how you find the guidance documents that exemplify those 3 standards.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. So like Matt just explained, there's different examples of responses for each question in the toolkit at the 3 different levels. So this really helps for schools to get a bit of more of a grasp and a bit more accurate understanding of where to self-assess yourself currently. And another thing that's really helpful as well is if you're currently at an embedding phase, it then gives you examples of objectives to set to help move up to those next stages. So within the toolkit, when we first added these in, within the resource boxes here, we had the PDF document for each principle under evidence examples. But something we've launched literally today, it's become live, is now underneath each question. So within the toolkit, you've got all these questions, you can add your evidence, you can self-assess yourselves. We've now got this box on each one of what this may look like in these different areas. So this I've expanded. So it first of all looks like this when you've logged in. So you can click on show example responses, and there you will find for each question what that may look like at the 3 different levels. As you can see, if for some levels there's just 1 example, I think the most is 5, but it gives examples of what that could look like in a school. And something that you can do that hopefully will make this a lot easier, not just having that there, but you can click on the copy section. If you think, yeah, that's something we're doing at the moment, or that's similar to something we're doing, I need to tweak that. Like I said, they are examples, so they can be modified. You can add your own examples as well. Is you can click on copy, and then when you go and click add evidence, you can paste it in. You can obviously edit how that's worded, delete anything out that's not relevant, add your own extra sections in as well. Click submit. Sorry, I think this is because I've been logged in for so long, because I added this in ages ago. But you click submit, and then it will submit that into your evidence. So that is available for every single principle, for every question as well. And that is now embedded into the tool itself. So this should hopefully make things a lot easier. I think when, like Reg said, when you first look at it, it could be a bit overwhelming, but hopefully this will change that, because it means that there's some examples in there that you can look through and think, yeah, we're doing that, we can tick that off, we can add that in. And like I said, it also gives you examples as inspiration of where you can improve your provision, improve your support to reach that next level. These can be copied and pasted into the objectives as well. So if there are certain things that you'd want to do that you're not doing currently, you can add that in there. So like I said, this was relaunched today. So if you want to log on, you should be able to access it yourself as well at the moment.